Hey everyone, it's a dose of Dr. Drew.
Hey there, everybody. Pile on in. Let's see where we're at. Oh, we're not on the restream, Susan. At least I'm not.
Should be.
Let's see if I can get it restarted. I'm trying right now.
There's a Periscoper.
Nope, not on mine. Oh, there we go. There it is. We got him.
Hello from Ireland.
Ireland. How are you guys doing there?
Hello, Ireland.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Dan.
See
Relax.
If we can get Facebook on here.
Relax here, everybody. Get in, pile in.
Pile in.
Abstract. I see the questions as much as I can, but once you
from Facebook.
Once you pile in, it starts moving pretty quick, and I try to answer the ones I can see. How long can you have COVID without symptoms? Somebody's asking. It's not known. It's been documented for up to a month, but it's probably on the order of 4 to 14 days, probably.
Wow.
But there's concern about that group. That's the group we have not been able to fully study yet, the asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic carrier. Will there be a COVID season every year? There certainly would be if we don't come up with a vaccine, but we will have a vaccine. And that will be that. And the nice thing about the COVID virus, unlike influenza, is that it's very stable genetically. It stays the same. So once we come up with a vaccine against it, that will be that. Splenectomized patients, to my knowledge, are not at special risk, though you need to talk to your doctor about that. Having your spleen out. Derek wants to know if there's any substance to the Oxford study. It's as well done a study as a better done study, I would say. It's more of an ecological study, which is taking into account all the things that are coming to bear on the system. I think it may be overly optimistic, but it's an excellent study. Essentially, what that study shows is that the suspects is that over 50% of the people in England, in the United Kingdom, have been exposed and may have antibodies. Now, until we start testing for the antibodies, we won't know. We won't know. We've got to do that. Hopefully, I'm hearing that will come out next week. These rapid turnaround finger stick antibody tests. We all need to get those if indeed we have them. Fibromyalgia, provided you're under the age of 60, does not add any significant risk, though you're not in the best immune shape because your sleep is messed up when you have fibromyalgia. So, okay. Heard hydroxychloroquine is on back order in Georgia. I'm hearing there's sort of a run on it here and there, but the drug company is going way overboard to make sure we have adequate supplies. So I'm sure there will be plenty. Survivors of sepsis at higher risk. Only if it's recently, yeah, for sure, because sepsis takes quite a while to recover from. And there are some people that are sort of prone to sepsis, and I would consider, you don't want to get into a situation with this virus where you could get into sepsis again, so be very, very careful. Let's see. Can healthy people skip the future vaccine? Only if you want to get the virus. That doesn't make much sense. I mean, in the future, what we'll be doing is testing people for immunity, and then so-called healthy people that don't get the vaccine, that haven't had the virus yet, will be getting the vaccine. That's how we're going to do that.
I want that test.
Yeah, I want it too. Is this the worst pandemic since the Spanish flu? Again, you were in the middle of it, so it's hard to tell. Let's see. The H1N1 killed 500,000 people and infected 1 billion people. Is this one worse? Not yet. And that one killed 500,000 40 to 60-year-olds primarily. It hit primarily healthy people. Now, this one we believe has the potential to be worse, which is why there's such an intense reaction to it. Is it bad for young asthmatics? Asthmatics are on the CDC list of risk category. They took a while to do that, but they're saying that now. So let's consider, particularly people who are active asthmatics, who have difficulty with airway reactivity, that it affects your breathing, where you feel it. Yeah, you should be considered at risk. How many did H1N1 kill in the U.S.? I don't know how we look up that number. H1N1, we can all look that up. In U.S., that's a good question. Let's see, 1 second. Swine flu pandemic. Boy, it's so full of all kinds of spin and comparisons against this particular epidemic, so it's really hard to tell. It's hard to tell. Wait, there's maybe some good data in here. 12,000 deaths? 12,000 deaths, it looks like. Okay, H1N1, 12,000, which again, young, healthy people. And so it's scary. That's the number I saw, 12,000. Let's see, you can fact check me on that. Opinion on treating the COVID with prednisone. I have seen good results with Solumedrol, which is a intravenous, more powerful version of prednisone. Maybe at home, some doctors may be trying prednisone to deal with some of the lung reactivity. It seems to be have some benefit in certain cases. Stephanie's saying 12,000, which was that the number I got? I've already forgotten the number I put out there. Yeah, there's no way to take the there's no way to take the fatality rate to zero in influenza season, which killed about 30,000 this year, or when there are pandemics. It's just not biologically possible. People are asking why there had to be 12,000 deaths from the H1N1, because that was the last pandemic. That was the pandemic.
Could you talk about?
Can't hear you.
Could you talk about Hydrolite?
Yeah, this is these are good products. This again, they're these it's in French. How nice. These lemonade sticks, powder you just pour into water. And this is your hydration product. People should have this on hand in case you get sick. Staying hydrated is as important as anything else. So not just water. You have to have water with something in it to really stay hydrated. Dyson designs new ventilator in 10 days. Ordered for 10,000. I heard about that. That's pretty remarkable. And this is the kind of innovation that I believe we're going to see lots of in the face of this. No one does this better than us. Nobody. And so you're going to see hospitals flexing. You're going to see staffs moving about. We're graduating medical students earlier. We're bringing people and repositioning them in jobs where they can take care of acute needs. It's going to be, no one does this better than us, and we will meet the ventilator demands. I'm absolutely sure of it. So hang on one second. Did that answer your question, Ms. Susan? We have dogs, of course.
Sorry about that. Ooh. Somebody's here. Put on your mask, everyone.
Right, exactly. It is interesting how many people are still working. We are held up here in our house.
All my contractors are working.
And I do go in to do a television show every night, so I suppose I am working too, but I'm trying to stay. Are obese people more at risk? They are not part of the CDC risk category. But they have lung restriction. That's part of being obesity. You can't move your lungs the way you'd like to, the way you are designed to. Let's put it that way. And as such, you certainly have less reserve, and if you get into trouble, it could be more serious things. Will we be the next New York? Elsa asked, and that's let's look at we're talking about Los Angeles now. So let's talk about some data. The LA County data is we had marked increase in testing, and a response that we now have 1,200 cases in a region of 10 million. I would say we're doing extremely well in Los Angeles, and the mayor has predicted that we're going to be where New York is in 5 more days. I don't see how we get from 1,200 to 35,000 when people are carefully observing social isolation. I just don't see how we get there. So I'm going to say that we're going to be much better off. We're going to go up from here for sure, but we're going to be much better off than New York. We just can't get there if we're not connecting, if we're not in touch with each other. Now, in terms of, let's talk about some state data. There's a really good study, a website out there. Let me see if I have it. I may have lost it. It's like COVID. It's a COVID resource page. This is it, I think. Let me see if this is it. Here's the California Department of Public Health. All right, California Department of Public Health. In California, we have 2,500 cases, again, in a state of 60 million. I think we're doing pretty good. There are 48,000 tests outstanding. So if those tests are in highly probable cases, which is all we're testing right now, there's about a 10% positivity rate. So we can expect of that 48,000 outstanding, there should be 4,000, right? 10%, yeah. There should be around 4,000 positive. So we should go in California to something like 6,000 pretty soon. Don't be surprised by that tick up. That is not an attack rate. That is a backlog of cases that are existing. It's, again, hard to see. Amongst the data, it's hard to see exactly what the attack rate is when all we're seeing is backlogs of testing coming forward. It's very hard to track that as a result. So that website, I lost it again, is covidtracking.com, covidtracking.com. If you want some good data, they break it down by state there, and it's really good. Histrionic, you're saying multiply by 10. I think 10 is an excessive number. So the point you're making is that there's 10 times as many people out there with it as are being tested. I think 3 to 5 is a reasonable number. I think that's a reasonable number. If you want to do that, multiply times 5 for the sake of argument. Let's say in LA County, that's what we've got. That still keeps us at about 5,000 cases in a region of 30 million. Pretty good. Pretty good. It's not the millions of cases that were predicted, right? Somebody's reporting that hydroxychloroquine is ineffective. Who is reporting that, Dustin? Because we had seen many other reports to the contrary, so that'll be interesting. That's the one thing that really could change things next week, is if we have data in on effective versus not effective treatments. Fauci said corona could become seasonal. I think there's almost no doubt that it will. That's why we have to get a vaccine to it. Yes, phase 1 trials, but I'm hearing that the mRNA guys, that extremely aggressive biotech company, is going to have a vaccine for healthcare workers by the fall, which is pretty amazing. There we. So you're a pharmacy technician with asthma. Should I be worried about getting sick? Yes, you should be worried. You should be taking extra precautions. So what else we got here? Does the weather have an impact? It's hard to say. We think it does. In hotter regions, humid regions, it tends not to like that. And we all know this virus is unstable in heat. So presumably there will be some seasonality to this, though it hasn't been proven yet. Why would it be okay to go back out before the vaccine? The only way it'd be okay to go back out before the vaccine is if, A, we have treatments that will reduce the viral shedding, that will reduce the infectivity, and testing that lets us know who is immune in the herd. Then we will be able, in a position to go back to work. If we can actualize those sorts of things in a rapid way, we would be in pretty good shape. Pretty good shape. How can there be a vaccine for this but not the flu? There is a flu for the vaccine. The only difference is that the flu vaccine has to be given every year because the flu changes. It drifts every year in terms of how the immune system sees it. It's always trying to trick us, so it continues to survive in spite of our vaccine. That's what it does. It adapts to the environment. Coronavirus is much more stable, and once we get a vaccine, it's going to be, that's it. That's going to be the vaccine for a while. How does Chicago look? Somebody's asking. So let me go to that data again. You can all go there yourself. It's COVID tracking. What's that, Susan?
Good question.
What? How Chicago's doing?
Boston's probably in trouble, right?
Let me look. Illinois is got 1,800 cases with. They don't know how many pending out there. So 1,800 cases, pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, you should feel pretty reassured, but you're in a concentrated environment, so you're at risk. I'm telling you, not enough is being made of the elevator. Be careful in elevators. In all cases where don't touch anything in there, use your elbow to push the buttons, and wear a mask. If you can avoid an elevator, avoid elevators. So Illinois looks okay, but certainly you will have more cases before we're done. And you want to know about Massachusetts? Let me see if I can get. Unfortunately, I don't have city by city data. It would be very nice to see. Massachusetts also has 1,800 cases, same as Illinois, and we will see. Again, Boston has the same issues as Chicago, and something worthy of concern. Minnesota, on the other hand, has only 287. Makes you wonder if it also doesn't like the cold. So Minneapolis should be in better shape. Let me go back to the stream, ask you guys questions. At what point? Well, gosh, it moves so fast. It's hard to read. I'm sorry. Illinois has 2,500 cases. You're saying, well, the COVID tracking device is pretty good. So you have a bunch of outstanding cases that should be coming in.
Okay, and Larry David has to go.
What?
Pretty good.
Am I aware of? Boston went up to 2,400 today. Yeah, so Julie, I'm concerned about Boston. That's a pretty big tick up in a concentrated area. Let me see. Somebody's asking about the ECMO. Can you speak on the ECMO machines and the need for their added production? Well, I don't know the data on that. The ECMO machines are people that start failing a ventilator where you can't oxygenate them in spite of mechanical ventilation, and you have to oxygenate their blood literally outside of their body with what's called an ECMO machine or an extracorporeal oxygenation machine. And I know they use those a lot in China, but they use a lot of them, but they didn't have to use it very often. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, and I don't know if we have enough of those. And it's kind of interesting that nobody is speaking about that. So far, I've not heard of situations where somebody needed something like that and did not get it. Ooh, there's something called slow chat. Huh. Interesting. Well, I can't do that because I'm on a restream. So how's Alaska doing? Let me see what we got. Alaska, last time I saw, was really in good shape. They had 459 cases in Alaska. And I don't know how many pending tests. And again, remember, even in the highly likely cases, only 10% are positive. U.S. number one for cases. I don't believe. Let's see. Now I'm looking at the Johns Hopkins site. We're getting there. We're getting there in terms of total number of cases. We're getting towards surpassing China in the Johns Hopkins data. There's an incongruity, or there's between the Corona tracking or the COVID tracking project. Let me reset them to see what they're saying. Come on. And the data at Johns Hopkins. 80,000, though, by Friday. If we are slowing this thing down and we're at 80,000 by Friday, it's not the number I was looking for. I was looking for 60,000, but it's still not far off of that. Of course, we'd like to see lower numbers, but 80,000 in a country our size, 350 million people, we're slowing it, and we have treatments, we would be in okay shape at that point. So here are cumulative daily totals for the U.S. according to COVID tracking project. According to this website, it's 63,000 with 355,000 negative and 14,000 pending. So hard to know what to make of. You can trust with whichever one you want. It's not big differences between the two. Yeah, I'm wondering. Let's see the slope on our graph. It's still about the same. It's not accelerating, which is good, but it's still a high slope. And the question is, how much of that is from testing and how much of that is from actual new cases? By Monday, we'll kind of know more about that. We'll really know more about that. More risk with psoriasis? No, unless you have open to the world wounds to the world, like where you are, could get the virus right through your skin. It's not a good barrier. Or if you're on immune modulating medication, immunosuppressives for the psoriasis, that would put you at risk. Considering, let's see what does comorbidity and diabetes? Yes, it of course does. Makes people more susceptible. Yes, it does. Has ibuprofen been shown to worsen symptoms? I was talking to Dr. Oz about that last night. Apparently, that doesn't seem to be true, but why not just use Tylenol? I see no problem with that. Do you see a big demand for respiratory? Yes, respiratory therapists are going to be a key part of all this. I mean, they're going to be managing all the ventilators. They may actually, some hospitals have protocols where the respiratory therapists can operate on their own with the protocol around the ventilator without doctor supervision, because they work with these things all the time. Okay. What do I think about the New York governor banning chloroquine? I think practicing medicine from the governor's office is deeply concerning. I've never heard of such a thing. I understand what he wants to do. He wants to put all chloroquine use into clinical trials, which is great, but it's hard to put people in clinical trials when you're in the midst of battle. It's time consuming. There's a ton of paperwork. People have to be able to consent to it. And I'm telling you, people, according to the French researchers, this will kill people. So not letting doctors practice medicine is always a horrible idea. I just answered that, Dennis. I just answered that one. That's what I was just talking about. New York Times reporting that we have more cases than any other country. We're obviously close to that. Even in the Hopkins situation, yeah, we should pass China probably by tomorrow, if not today, just based on backlog of testing. Yeah, we're going to have more cases for sure. What's that?
Can you talk about the sound device, please?
Where did you put it?
Down below on the table.
So this is a device that I've gotten behind. It's a little bit off topic right now, but it destroys needles. If you drop the needle in here, you push this, and it turns it into just this. It incinerates it and turns it into a little nub. If you are handling sharps, this is the kind of technology we should be advocating for everybody. It's ridiculously useful. It's I've been looking for somebody my whole career to destroy needles because needle sticks have been such a problem. But when I saw this technology come around, I got behind it. So this is a leap forward, and people are using it in law enforcement and nursing units all over the country. So please do take advantage of that. There's a larger unit for hospitals that will destroy all size needles and sharps. So something to pay attention to. You can go to needledestructiondevice.com if you're interested in that. More risk with celiac disease. It's not on the specific risk of risk categories, but it depends on your overall. You talk to your doctor about that. That would be a question whether you should be worrying about. Vaping, smoking reinforces rates long-term lung damage. Yes, anything going in your lungs looks like a bad idea right now. When you look at the people that get the complications, it is smokers. It is even people that are smoking cannabis, it looks like. So be careful. Be careful. You need to add false positive, false negative rates. What I've heard from the podium up there, and they were saying that they have very few false positives. There is obviously all tests have a false positive rate. And there's something called accuracy, which means that the likelihood of the test being positive when it turns out positive is more likely to be accurate. That's what accuracy is based on. And all tests have a false positive and a false negative rate. But my understanding was our tests were a significant advantage over what was going on in South Korea, which had a large false positive component. Can you get coronavirus and flu at the same time? It's so rare it's written about in the medical journals, but yes, New England Journal had a case with influenza A and coronavirus, and that is a nasty combination. So, Dustin, I've answered it now, so don't keep asking. Because I've mentioned every day this week, too, by the way.
Maybe he's new.
Well, boy, whoever is saying that, you better reconsider yourself. Consider what you're doing about vaping. So is 99.5 a fever? It's enough of a fever to keep an eye on, that's for sure. I'd watch it. When will the hydroxychloroquine trials start in New York City and New York State? They're well underway. We should have, there's talk of opening them up early next week, so there should be some information coming out of them by then. It's not going to be a blinded study, pretty clearly. Is there any part of the population naturally immune to the virus? That is the big question right now. And if we could do what are called serological test for the antibody to the virus, which are very rapid finger stick tests that can be done in 10 or 20 minutes, that, Dustin, I accept your apology, no problem. But if we start doing those antibody tests widely, we will know that, and we'll have a better sense of what's going on. Again, that Oxford study suggested that there is already widespread immunity. We just don't know. It's obviously not that widespread. Plenty of people are getting sick. Blood type take any role in susceptibility? No, it does not. Although that rumor's flying all over the place, there is no evidence of that. Best way to quit cigarettes without nicotine replacement? There are medications that can help you, though this may not be I guess it would be the time. Talk to your doctor about that. There's various pharmacological approaches, and sometimes they really do help. Okay. Jacob says, I don't want to admit that we're in bad shape. No, I would say we're in okay shape. We're not in great shape, but we're having progress. And New York City is struggling for sure. But the whole point of this exercise has not been to prevent infection. It's been to allow infection to occur at a rate that is able to be delivered, under which we're able to deliver healthcare. In other words, we don't overwhelm the healthcare system. Now, we are getting close in New York City, and they are taking appropriate action and flexing, and they're going to get it. They're going to be fine. They're going to deal with what they have to deal with there in New York City. But we are achieving our goal, which was to prevent overwhelming the healthcare system with the infections that will come. A lot of people are going to get infected. A more interesting question is how many people are going to get infected. What do you guys think? I would like some from the restream. Give me some estimates on what do you think when we're done. Let's say by July. Let's give it July. By July, how many cases do you think we're going to have seen in the United States? What's your guess? Let's say we're at 80,000 by Friday. Where do you think we'll be by? And you can give me a range if you want. What do you think? I know it takes a minute for the stream to catch up with it. Explain herd immunity. It's essentially enough people have been exposed to the virus or the vaccine where they have antibodies to it. And if somebody in the middle of a herd hasn't ever seen the virus can't get through to them because the herd itself is immune.
Yeah. I think New York has a lot more people that are immune.
800,000 to a million. Okay. 500 million, 700,000, 50 million, 275,000, 1 million plus, 50 to 70,000.
How many people get the flu every year?
24 million. Well, I think 30 million this year got the flu. So around 30 million get the flu. So if we are under a million, think about that. We're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty darn well. 400,000, Piglet says. 800,000, Shelley says. 20 million minimum. I don't know where you got that number, Mac, but it would not be unreasonable if we let it fly, if we just let it go, because again, the flu is 40 million. But I think with all the measures we are taking, I agree with people that are saying around 700,000. I think between 600,000 and 800,000 are probably where we're going to be. 950, 350, and these are all really good numbers if we're able to get to that point. 10 to 30 million, including cured. Yeah, if we're up in the tens of millions, that's going to be rough. That's going to be rough. Because out of that 10 million, if you say 1% are going to die of this thing, that's a bad number. So that's 1 million people dying, right? So, or is it 1 million at that point? 10 million, 1%, so it'd be 100,000 dying. Still not a great number. Not a great number. Not the 2 million that was predicted. Not the 2 million was predicted. So we've improved the outcome relative to what was predicted as the doomsday story. I'm hearing that RPC, Nick, is good. We've made contact with him, and he's doing very well. He seems unaffected by all this. Though I can't believe there aren't people in this building that have this.
Explain to other people who that is.
Robert Paul Champagne is a gentleman at your mom's house that they've made contact with, and I went and visited, and he is a fixture at your mom's house. If you listen and watch that podcast.
The Dr. Drew After Dark.
And Dr. After Dark as well. Scared to take my lisinopril. You should not be. The direction from our various professional societies is we should not be restricting the use of ARBs or ACE inhibitors. The concern was that both those medication upregulated the ACE2 receptor on the surface of the lung, which it does do, and that's the receptor that the virus binds at and finds its way into the cells of the body. It turns out that in addition to upregulating the ACE2, it blocks the virus's ability to get in to some degree. So there is actually a study underway to see if either of these medications reduce the risk of getting this infection. So we will see how that study goes. I'm allergic to quinolones. That's not good. Then don't take them. Let's see what these stats are. This is Newsbreak. Yeah, that looks like a decent site as well. And they're reporting 82,000 cases in the U.S. as of this moment. I wish they would put in this. This is now somebody recommended this on my stream here, newsbreak.com. I wish they would put the number of outstanding tests. That would be nice to know. So you can sort of help you assess what's more tests coming in versus what is a higher attack rate. I'm glad, Mark, this helps your anxiety, because anxiety and depression are really becoming the problem going forward. People have difficulty planning for the future. They have difficulty dealing with the information that's raining in through the press. There's certain regions of the country we should look very positively at. We should pat ourselves on the back for keeping this outbreak as well controlled as it is and for going to these extraordinary measures. LA County is one of them. We have 1,200 cases here in a county of 10 million. We're doing good. We should pat ourselves on the back. We should begin to look at the positive here. Whether we start looking at how we get out of this and how we roll back to work, somebody should be thinking about that and somebody should be talking about that, but we shouldn't have specific dates in our own mind necessarily. We don't want to be disappointed about that, but somebody needs to be coming up with a plan. Are we going to do antibody testing? Are we going to do viral testing? Are we going to let people roll back to work in regions like Wyoming where there's almost no cases? How are we going to do this, and who is making those decisions is really important. Why am I fine? Dysthymia sufferer. That's interesting. Some people do kind of get it together in a crisis, so that's interesting. Does hydroxychloroquine contain quinolone? I do not believe there's a very different molecules. So you may want to check me on that, but I don't believe they are the same thing as well. But those, but those who are only confirmed positive, there are many more sick. Yes, Alyssa, that's why I said you can put a factor of 3 or 5 in there if you want. In terms of where we are by the end, I think we ought to rely on confirmed data. We shouldn't speculate. By that point, we should know where we are. So we're saying at the end we have 800 or 900,000 cases. We don't have to put a 3 times or a 5 times at that point. Am I worried about the economic ramifications? I'm worried about people's lives being ruined. Yes, I'm profoundly worried by that. And I am grateful for the government for getting their act together and doing things on behalf of the people. First time I've seen that maybe in my lifetime. So I appreciate it very, very much. What did Fauci say today? I don't know. I didn't hear a conference today. We had a big LA County conference here locally where I am that was, I thought, really good and reassuring. They are ready. They are ready for a surge. They're ready for any increase. They're ready to go. How are we doing on time, Miss Producer?
33.
Okay, thank you. What does under investigation mean? I'm assuming that means that there's an active clinical study underway. Vaping, DVS, as the van guy, as I mentioned earlier, you should be concerned. We're concerned about anything being taken into the lungs. It appears that anything that gets to the air sacs can affect those protein binding sites there and could be a risk factor for infection. Household sanitizer, Lysol, and Clorox wipes. Clorox. That should be your main. Dr. Oz apparently has a recipe on his website for how to make Clorox if you have trouble finding it in your grocery stores. Does it fall to the CDC to initiate antibody testing or some other government body? Jay Thompson, it will be with the CDC, I'm sure. And Dr. Fauci will be involved with that. Again, he should be your guiding person. He should be the one you look towards. What he tells us to do is what we should do. We don't have to do more, but we should absolutely not do less. Ooh, that's interesting. This Christy Hall, really interesting note. She says the Mormon Church is bringing thousands of missionaries home from all over the world. Watch Utah. That's very interesting. We will watch that. Thank you for that. Let's look at. Oops, somebody was telling me what Fauci was saying. Let me see what they said. I'm sorry. Dr. Fauci is saying that it could come back in the fall. Where'd you go? Because of the way the virus is behaving. I have no doubt it'll be back in the fall, and that's why we're going to have to come up with a vaccine very, very soon. I'm hearing, again, I mentioned earlier that the mRNA people who put the vaccine into phase 1 trials say now they will have a vaccine by the fall for healthcare workers. So we will see. We will see. So far, they've been exactly spot on in every one of their predictions at that business. So let's see if they can pull this one off. Okay. Hopefully this will make us more resilient. That's an interesting observation. Who said that? I'm sorry. I want to give you credit for that. I am hoping that good things come out of this. I'm hoping that that we learn about ourselves, that we reprioritize, that we reestablish our values, that we really understand that we did this together and it bonded us with against a common enemy. In a weird way, if we go over it too quickly, we won't have had that experience. So, I do hope we do get over it quickly because it's going to have untoward effect on people's lives. But I hope we also learn to adjust and become resilient and learn that we can get through something like this. Is isopropyl alcohol an effective disinfectant? It is okay. It's not as good as Clorox. And somebody asked, why is hand washing better than the Purell and that sort of stuff? Alcohol is good, but the virus is very susceptible to soap. So soap is much more important. Dr. Fauci said we are waiting for the curve to start going down. I'm hoping we'll see some evidence of not going down, but slowing of increase, because the backlog of tests, we got to get through that, because at this point, pretty much everything we're seeing is test backlog. Whether or not the attack rate is slowing, we'll have to see that soon. Explain what I mean. Vaping is not good. Anything you're inhaling into your lungs, it appears it can affect the protein surface on the alveolar cells, which makes the virus more likely to get in and more likely to cause complication. So there you go. Chris, you better specify what you're talking about, my friend. What is the backlog? That we have testing outstanding, tens of thousands of tests that we've sent out in likely cases. We expect about 10% of those to be positive. And so those are, I don't know how many are outstanding in the entire country. I don't think I can get that. We have 63,000 positive according to this website, though I know some people are reporting close to 80,000 or over 80,000. You have to go, in this COVID tracking project, you have to go state by state to see what the pending rate is in your particular state. We don't have a pending rate for the country. Like, for instance, as I just go down the line here, in Arizona, we don't have that many pending. Some states don't report it. In California, we have 57,000 pending. So if you assume that 10% of those are going to be positive, we'll have about 5,000 more cases, and we'll be up around 8,000 for the state. I think that's a reasonable expectation. That does not make us New York. That does not make us New York. We'll be at about, what did I say for LA County? I've already lost my train of thought. We have 1,200 here, and they don't give me the data on how much is outstanding. Let's assume there's 5,000 outstanding, and we'll be up, or 10,000 outstanding, we'll be up another 1,000 very, very quickly. Okay. Can your miniature schnauzer get it? Apparently not, but she can carry it on her coat.
So don't sneeze on your dog.
Paolo wants to know what to do about running out of money. Apply to the government. They seem to be coming to our aid for at least the next month. What we do after that has yet to be seen. So hopefully we can have some degree of employment after that, but we'll see. No mouthwash with bleach. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. It'll be back in the fall. Due to lack of heat, and also that's just how viruses have seasonal cycles to them. Typically, that's just how they work. And yes, they don't like the heat. That's also true. How is Texas? Texas was pretty good. I mean, it's a huge state, right? And I actually spoke to a radio station, and I think I was in Dallas this morning, and we were talking about what good shape they were in and trying to keep a positive outlook. Texas is at 1,300 cases with unknown amount pending. That's pretty good. That's pretty good in a state that size. They should feel reassured to some extent that things are okay at the moment, and stay diligent, pat themselves on the back, and continue to be successful in what they're doing. How's Arizona? You guys could go to this website, the covidtracking.com yourself, but here's Arizona, 577 positive, with very few pending. So Arizona does not look like it's having a significant outbreak at this point. Who knows when everybody runs away from New York, if they'll come to Arizona, that could be concerning. Does the type of symptoms you have depend on how you were exposed? We don't know. It might. It might. The size of the inoculum might affect the severity of the illness. We don't really know that just yet. I worry about elevators. That's what I worry about, where somebody sneezes or coughs in an elevator, doors close, it's there as an aerosol, you walk in. That's a huge inoculum potentially. Surfaces, which we are all very preoccupied about, how long it lives on a table, how long it lives on a cardboard box, does not appear to be a significant means of transmission. In fact, it's not even documented yet. So we don't know. Keep washing your hands. Stay diligent about that. But you don't have to be in a panic about surfaces. It's much more person to person. I did explain herd immunity a couple of times. Joe Rogan is saying people that were exposed got more sick. People that got exposed got more sick. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Being exposed in a large way with a large inoculum? That seems to be, I'm hearing rumors of that, but not proof of that. If elderly get bacterial pneumonia, it's deadly. I don't see how this is much different. It isn't that much different, but it's more contagious, and it breaks out. It can affect more people that way. So that's the concern. Am I concerned about a ventilator shortage in New York City? Well, I'm concerned about it, but I know I know how our healthcare system works, and I know we will meet the need. I know we'll meet the demand. And here in Los Angeles, for instance, there was a lot of questions about that, and we have thousands of ventilators ready to go. So I believe everyone is ready for worst case scenario. So I seem stressed. I am stressed. Thank you, Dustin. Yeah, I am. It's hard to talk about this and try to keep a positive attitude for everybody when even saying that we should look positively at the effects of what we're doing gets met with horrible abuse, vitriol for daring to look at a positive. We need positive. We need that to get through this. We need to be able to plan our future. We need to have some control over what's going forward. And to only sit and massage doomsday scenarios, people are going to start killing themselves because that's what happens. So I'm saying that it's really important to start to focus on the positivity to the extent that there is positive results. You read, Randy, that they're putting 2 people on 1 ventilator. There is some, there's actually a YouTube video apparently that shows doctors how to use a single ventilator for 2 to 4 people. I don't know exactly how that would work in terms of the technology of the software in the ventilator. So I'm worried about that. But if people get desperate, that is an option that has been discussed out there. Well, thank you. Wait, who is that? Thanks, Krista. Rogan said the doctors and nurses who have more contact with the virus get sicker. Yeah, I've heard things like that. And thank you, whoever that was that said that coming to this little stream gathering is reducing your anxiety and calming. That's the whole idea. There you are. Thank you, Nicole.
They probably get sicker because they're just run down, too.
It could be. It could be. But I think there's something about the inoculum. I think Joe has pretty good instincts on stuff like this, and I think he's right again. Possibility of infection with the same strain after recovery does not appear to be the case. But what's happening is people have recurrences, not that they get reinfected. People that continue to produce virus are at risk for a recurrence. Okay. Best stuff to eat for your immune system. Here are the kinds of things that have had some possible documentation of benefit. 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, 50 milligrams of zinc. Cold showers, Corolla swears by this. And it may have some benefit, causing something called hormesis. You can look up hormesis and all the potential benefits of hormesis.
Plenty of sleep.
Joseph, why does Susan make you nervous? Why does she make you nervous? She calms me down. Any benefit? No. There's lots of questions about shaving off facial hair. That's an issue about the mask fitting. It's better. The masks are better, we think.
Somebody wants to know if you're going to be on Fox 11.
Yes, Fox 11 tonight at 7 o'clock. In fact, I have to go in there early tonight. They want me there at 6 because I think there's going to be a press conference we will be monitoring.
Yeah, but you're taping with Corolla at 4.
I know. I have to run right out of here immediately after that,
All right.
which is why I'm sort of keeping an eye on the clock here. I am stressed. I do need a break. I've been up. I got up very early this morning, did a radio tour to try to,
Yeah,
again,
that's right.
send
You
out,
didn't sleep very much last night.
yeah, send out messages of positivity and talk about, how we congratulate ourselves for the extreme efforts we've made and that we're doing okay. We're doing okay. And it's not the dooms. I lost my restream for some reason. Oh, there it is.
I think it's time to go take a nap.
I think so too. Take a break at least. Thank you, King's Chick. You take 4,000 milligrams of vitamin C. That is a lot. Blood pressure medicine, Jessica, do not change your blood pressure medicine. That is the current guidance. Mud baths. Benefit from shaving facial hair. I've asked that. I've answered
Get that
that.
hair off. It's cleaner. You can wash your face. No bacteria will be in your beard.
All right. We didn't say that on the mic. We couldn't hear you.
Oh. Why? My mic's on.
Now you are. There you go. Say it again.
Shave your beard. Wash your face. You'll have less bacteria.
Okay,
in your
Mom.
hair.
Reasonable?
And wash
Reasonable?
your hair every day.
Cumulative daily dose in the U.S. at covidtracking.com. We are at 80,700. That's their current data. Up from 63,000 yesterday. So we're going up at a rate. Let's look at that. And the most of this is in New York City. 60% is coming out of New York. So we've gone up roughly 8,000 to 9,000 per day, up to, this today we had a little increase. So we went from 63 to 80. So that's 17,000. So we're generally going up at a rate about 9,000 per day. I beg your pardon. So if you see let's say if we see the rate dropping down below 9,000 a day, that's a good sign. That is a good sign. So let's look for that. 9,000 a day. Slowing, and we won't have that for a couple of days because we still have such a backlog of tests. So just the testing that has been done so far should get us up around close to 100,000. When that will be, let's say Monday, and then we will see by then whether we have some treatments as well. And that's the thing we're really looking for in terms of making a dent in this thing. If we can get some treatments that work and reduce viral shedding, that will be the sign that we are in much better shape. They like Rex, and they like you, Susan. They like your dog.
You like Rex?
Yep. We got to let him out of his little crate. He's been a bad dog.
Yeah, I think
lately.
he's still in the crate.
Yes,
No,
well,
I
he's
had Teresa take him out.
okay. All right, well, let's wrap things up. Take a little break here. Thank you guys for dropping by the restream. And we appreciate...
Get that Hydrolyte.
Yeah, get the Hydrolyte, the needle destruction device, if indeed you're using needles, you're diabetic, something like that. And what about the antibody trials they started this week? Brooke, that is going to be the really interesting stuff. What we do with the antibody results, the serologic results, and what those studies show, that is the future. That's next. That's the story we're going to watch next week. Treatment and antibodies next week. And then aiming towards a peak number. Are we going to be at 600,000 or are we going to be at 1 million? How many people are actually going to get sick? I'm going to say between 600,000 and 900,000. And that's a far cry from 60 times what they predicted that. They predicted it to be 60 million. So we will be doing okay if that's where we level up. All right, we'll see you on Sunday. We have a 3 o'clock show with phone calls. You can call in for that. And
we're not sure who the guest is yet.
Don't know who the guest is, but we'll be in here again tomorrow. Susan, is that true?
I guess so. I mean, what else do I have to do?
We're trying to keep people positive. Don't you go south on me too.
I'm tired. You woke up really early today for that radio satellite tour.
You woke up too for that?
Yeah, you wake me up with that alarm.
Sorry.
Can we change the sound on your alarm?
I know it's that early one that has that. I thought I've changed it on
gosh.
everything.
Like a fire alarm going off.
Sorry.
I know. I was having a great dream too.
You missed what really happened, which was that I knocked the phone off the nightstand, and I had 5 minutes before going live, and I couldn't find my phone. So, and that's where all the information was about where I was supposed to call and what I was supposed to do. So I was crawling around on the floor in the dark at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, oh my God, this is so ridiculous.
Oh my God, that was a wake-up call. Maybe that's why I need a nap. So, although I'll be back to set up your Skype to Corolla in an hour.
Brian says, thanks, Boomer. And we don't know what time tomorrow. We can never quite figure out when a steady time for this because
Probably around the same time.
Yeah, it's generally been around this time, but every day has been so damn different in terms of things we're doing, and so you can.
Believe it or not, Drew doesn't have a whole lot to do. It's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, which is
It's
good.
like
I told Oz last night I would fly to New York and activate a license there if they need help. I will go.
Oh, it won't be at 3 because you have a video call at 3.
Right, so it'd either be
So-
before or after.
Yeah, probably earlier. I don't think I'm going to do Pilates tomorrow because I'm hurting.
Okay, good,
But-
excellent.
Yeah, maybe.
Thank you,
either-
Apollo. This too shall pass. I totally agree with you on that one. I totally agree.
Well, maybe between 4 and 5 we could do it too.
Okay, good. 4 and 5 is good
Or,
for me.
let's just go earlier, around 12 or 1.
Wait, somebody said something about Christina here. Christina P, who I do After Dark with.
Love her.
She's doing fine. Talk to her today if that's what your question was. I can't
She's
find your
alive.
question, but they're all doing well. Watch, hey, you want something good? Watch Tom Segura's stand-up special. Watch Bert Kreischer's stand-up special. They got me through the day yesterday. And of course, watch
Nikki.
Tiger King. Is that what it's called?
Nikki's was good. We watched that.
Oh
again.
yeah, Nikki Glazer's latest one is excellent. It'll take you out of your funk. And it's called Tiger King. Is that the name of the Netflix thing we're watching?
Yeah, Tiger King.
Oh boy, you guys will want to have. If you watch it, you can come here and ask me questions about it. That's something we can get our minds off this damn coronavirus a little bit. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. We've all been very focused on how to stay healthy these days, but we've not been talking about hydration. If you get coronavirus, flu, or even experience allergies, cold, a variety of everyday ailments, they all need hydration. And that's why it's a perfect time to welcome our friends at Hydrolyte back. This is a great product. You all know I've talked about it for a long time. This was the hydration product I wanted to invent, and they got it there before me. Now, remember, dehydration can make you feel sick, even a slight amount, and none of us need that anxiety right now. So stay well hydrated. I am thrilled to welcome our good friends at Hydrolyte back to the show. Longtime fans remember my obsession with Hydrolyte, which is literally the best hydration product I have found. I'm even more excited to introduce their brand new single-serve powder sticks. Simply pour 1 powder stick into a glass of water. They recommend 7 ounces. The powder dissolves instantly and creates the perfect balance of sodium, glucose, and water to deliver up to 4 times the electrolytes of your typical sports drink. And think about it. You can take this anywhere. You should have it on hand to just pour it into water, and you have a real significant hydration product. The other great news about Hydrolyte, the powder sticks, they are 100% natural, no artificial flavors, colors, or sweeteners, and they are available in flavors like orange and lemonade, and they taste great. Hydration is crucial. Hydrolyte is the fastest and easiest way to stay ahead of it. And you can find Hydrolyte powder sticks in the digestive aisle at Walgreens or Amazon, or simply just go to my website, drdrew.com/Hydrolyte. Again, that is drdrew.com/HYDRALYTE. You see it spelled here. There it is. And you enter the code DrDrew18 to save 30% off your order. Forget the runs on toilet paper. There should be runs on this. This is doing much more for your health than toilet paper. So go get some. Have it on hand. If anybody in your family gets sick, you need to keep them hydrated, and that's how you do it.